Hi, I'm Catherine Blair. I'm Gilborden's Middle School Services Librarian. Hello to all you middle schoolers and high schoolers out there as well. I am here to invite you to share your creative work with the library, and I'm going to tell you about 4 books, all available from Gilborden's website, either as audiobooks, downloadable e-audiobooks, or as ebooks. 4 books that you may be interested in reading while you're at home during these next few weeks. First, I'm going to talk about our Writing and Art Showcase. You may already know that the library publishes 4 times a year creative work from students in grades 6 through 12. All different kinds of creative work are welcome. It can be photographs, it can be poetry, essays, short stories, fan art, digital drawings. All different kinds are welcome. We publish all of the entries that we receive on the library's website, and we publish as many as we can fit, usually all of them, in a print booklet just like this one. So we know that a lot of you are putting time, effort, thought into your creative work, especially now that you've got this extra time at home. And this is a chance to share some of that effort with the greater Elgin community. If you have any questions or want to know where to send in your work, our web address, our email address is zone@gailborden.info. You can email your work here or email any questions you have here. We really hope to hear from you soon. The first one is Legend by Marie Lu. I don't have it here at my house, I just have this picture of the cover, but that's okay. You don't have to have it at your house either because, like I said, you can download it from Gailborden's website, gailborden.info, as an audiobook. If you liked The Hunger Games or Divergent, and you said, oh, I wish there were more dystopias out there that I could read, you can pick up Legend, because like those books, it is a dystopia, future society where things have gone wrong. In the world of this book, the United States doesn't exist anymore. The eastern part is now called the colonies, the western part is now called the Republic, and the 2 sides are at war with each other. In the Republic, when you turn 12 years old, you have to undergo what's called a trial. It is like every standardized test you'd ever taken, plus a physical fitness test and a psychological exam, all rolled into one. And if you fail this trial, you are sent to a labor camp to do back-breaking work for the rest of your life. At least that's what the government says happens. But Day, our first main character, he knows that's not true, because 3 years ago, when he failed his trial, the government didn't send him to a labor camp. Instead, they tried to kill him. Day's been on the run ever since, and he starts the book out by saying, "My mother thinks I'm dead. Obviously, I'm not dead, but it's safer for her to think so, because at least twice a month, I see my face on the Jumbotron scattered throughout downtown Los Angeles. Wanted by the Republic, Day. Wanted for assault, arson, theft, destruction of military property, and hindering the war effort." All of those accusations, by the way, are true. I mean, the government tried to kill Day, so yes, he is trying to sabotage them and hinder the war effort. But on the day the story starts, he's not doing any of that. Instead, he's in hiding near his family's house. He's trying to find out if everybody's okay. And he gets some bad news. Soldiers come and paint a big red X on his family's front door. That means that someone in his house has been diagnosed with the plague. It is a deadly disease and they are going to die. And Day thinks, no, this isn't right. He thinks, if I were rich, if my family were rich, we could just go to the hospital. We could get some medicine and we'd be fine. Day thinks, I'm going to break into the hospital and I'm going to steal some plague cure for my family. So he does. He breaks into a hospital, takes a doctor hostage, gets all the way to the coolers where they keep the medicine, but they're empty. Just pure bad luck. He came on a day when they were out of medicine. And now the government has sounded the alarm. They know where he is. There are soldiers coming up all the staircases. He has to jump out a 2nd-story window to escape. He lands wrong on the street. There's another soldier waiting for him in the alleyway behind the hospital. He has to throw one of his knives at the guy to escape. And he makes it out into the sewers, but he's wounded, he's bleeding, and he didn't manage to get any plague cure for his family. That's Day. Now our second main character, June, She went through her trial 3 years ago, the same year as Day, but she got a perfect score. And so for the past 3 years, she's been one of the rising stars in the Republic's top military academy. Both of her parents are dead. Her older brother is her only remaining family, and she wants to follow in his footsteps and be a great soldier for the Republic, just like him. But June is also about to get some bad news. A few hours after that hospital break-in, a soldier comes to her door to tell her that her brother was the soldier who tried to stop Day in the street. And her brother is now lying dead with Day's knife in his heart. And when she hears this, June makes a vow. She says, Day, I will hunt you down. I will scour the streets of Los Angeles for you. Search every street in the Republic if I have to. I will trick you and deceive you, lie, cheat, and steal to find you, tempt you out of your hiding place, and chase you until you have nowhere else to run. I make you this promise. Your life is mine. So that's June, our second main character. We've got Day on the run, desperately needs plague cure for his family. June no longer has a family, and she's vowed to bring Day to justice. You can find out what happens to them in The Legend by Marie Lu. It is book 1 of a series that now has 4 books in it. So if you read it a few years ago, the 4th book just came out in the past 12 months. Be sure to pick it up. That book was science fiction. If you are more in the mood for fantasy, I can recommend Aru Shah and the End of Time by Roshani Chokshi. You can see the Rick Riordan Presents title at the top of this page. Rick Riordan, the author of The Lightning Thief, has a new imprint where he publishes books by other authors that he thinks would appeal to people who like The Lightning Thief. True confessions time. I have never actually read The Lightning Thief, but I did read Aru Shah and greatly enjoyed it. Will recommend it. So the main character, that's Aru there. She lies. She lies a lot to her classmates because they are all rich. They'll be talking about how they went to Europe over the weekend with their parents, or how they got a new swimming pool in their backyard. And Aru lives in the museum that her mom works at. She stays home most weekends, so to make her feel like she fits in, she lies. But one weekend, there is a knock on her door, and when she answers it, her classmates are standing there with their phones out. And Aru is embarrassed, first of all, because she is wearing her Spider-Man pajamas when she answers the door. And second of all, because she remembers she told them that she and her mom were going away this weekend, just a quick trip to Paris, you know. And they obviously remember that because they're all snickering and recording with their phones. And they say, ha, we knew it. We knew you were a liar, and now we have proof. And Aru says, no, I'm not a liar. I mean, the plan to go to Paris fell through, but we were planning it. It just didn't happen this weekend. And they're like, no, you lie about everything. You lie about this museum. You lie about there being like a cursed lamp here. And Aru seizes on that. She says, oh, no, that cursed lamp I told you about, that is absolutely a real thing. See, it's right over there in the museum. If you light that lamp, it'll bring about the end of the world. And so her classmates look at her. And then one of them takes out a lighter and says, prove it. Should you light a lamp that is a museum artifact that is also supposed to be cursed and will bring about the end of the world? No, you should not. But Aru is feeling peer pressure. They're in front of her. They've got their phones out. So she succumbs to the pressure. She takes the lighter, goes up to the lamp, and flicks it. And the second the lamp is lit, her classmates freeze. Not just like they're scared, but really they are not moving. They're holding their phones up in thin air and not moving at all. It turns out the curse was real. And by lighting that lamp, Aru has triggered the potential end of the world. The good news, if there is any, is that it turns out Aru herself is the reincarnation of a god from Indian mythology. And she will have to team up with the reincarnation of a hero from Indian mythology, the child of a god. and she will have to team up with another reincarnated hero, a girl who's about her age she's never met before, and they, with the help of a talking pigeon, will have to travel through time and space to do what they can to try to stop the world from ending. This is a series. We already have the first 2 books at the library. It's funny in addition to having that sense of danger and adventure, and so it's another one you might like to check out. I myself have been having a little trouble concentrating at home these past couple of weeks, so I have turned back to books that might not have the excitement and minute thrills of Arusha or Legend, but books that I feel are extremely well written, and I enjoy even rereading them because even though I know what's going to happen next now, I like seeing how the author gets there. So one book that I can recommend to those of you who are willing to go with a little bit a slower book, but that's really, really worth reading. This is The Thief by Megan Whalen Turner. Please don't judge it by its cover. I have the old cover, and it's gone through a couple of different incarnations since then. This book is set in a world that's kind of like ancient Greece. It has a pantheon of gods. People drink from wine jars and eat olives with their bread and cheese. The main character is a thief. He bragged he could steal anything from anyone. He bragged that he could even steal from the king. And when he showed off what he'd stolen from the king arrested him and threw him in prison. After he's been in there for quite some time, the king's advisor comes and lets him out and says, "Wow, you look awful. Ha, I guess you'll think twice now before bragging about stealing from the king. How stupid are you? But I bet you're wondering why I've let you out of prison." Well, here's the story. You might have heard that according to legend, there is a special stone. And whoever possesses this stone is the rightful ruler of the neighboring kingdom. Our king would like to take over the neighboring kingdom, so it would really help him if he had possession of this stone. Well, I, the king's advisor, have done some research. I don't think the stone is just a myth. I think it exists. I think I know where it is. And I've let you out of prison because you are going to come with me and help me steal it. So that's how the story starts. The king's advisor and the main character, the thief, set off on a journey with 2 other boys and a soldier who's there partly for protection and partly to keep an eye on the thief to make sure he doesn't run off because he didn't exactly volunteer for this. The rest of the book is the story of their journey. So like I said, this one you do not pick up if you want thrill-a-minute explosions. There is a lot of description of the landscape that they're moving across. There is description of the food that they're eating at different places. We have intermissions where we hear stories from this sort of ancient Greek, but not really mythology. However, the story is definitely worth it in the end. One thing that I enjoy about rereading it is that I didn't expect the ending the first time. And so now, every time I look back, I get to see the clues that lead to that ending that I did not catch when I was reading it before. Last, but hopefully not least, is a book by one of my favorite fantasy authors, Diana Wynne Jones. The title of this book is Archer's Goon. It is another one that has a somewhat unfortunate 1980s cover design. Woo, there we go. So again, don't judge the book by its cover. Remember, if you're reading it as an ebook or digital download, you don't have to worry about what the cover looks like. In this book, the story starts when the main character comes home from school one day with his terrible younger sister to see a giant, menacing-looking goon sitting in their kitchen, picking his fingernails with a knife. The goon says he's there because their father failed to turn in his $2,000 last month, and the goon is here to collect them for his employer. The children think, wait a minute, what's going on here? Our father owes like 2,000 pounds. This is written in Britain, so they're talking about pounds and not dollars. Our father owes that much money to somebody? But then it turns out that their father doesn't owe 2,000 pounds or even $2,000. He owes 2,000 words. Their father is a writer, and for the past 13 years, every month, he has sat down in his typewriter, typed out 2,000 words, brand new. They don't have to make any meaning. He tells us about one time he wrote about his cats learning to talk. His most recent delivery was about old ladies starting a fight with handbags on the main street of the town. He turns those in to a government official who works downtown in the city offices, and it helps him with his writer's block. It helped him 13 years ago. Now, it is a little strange, now that he thinks about it, that this one time when the younger sister was born and he forgot to turn in his words, that all of a sudden their heat and electricity and water got turned off for a few weeks and no one could figure out what was wrong until he finally turned in the words, and then of course it got fixed. But that was just a coincidence, right? We all know, we're reading this book, it wasn't a coincidence. And so the question is, what is going on with these words? Well, the father at first is stubborn. He says, I turned in my words last month. I'm not giving them to you again. But the goon is insistent. He seems quite happy to cause the kind of disruption that I just caused by banging my video camera, and to just sit in this kitchen forever until the words show up. So finally the father goes, sits down, types, says, all right, I think I managed to remember what I typed last time. Here it is, go away. The goon takes the words and leaves. But he shows up the next day and he says, those words were no good. They were like something you'd written before, weren't they? We need brand new words. So now if you're like me, or if you're like the people in this story, you're wondering what is going on. Well, it turns out that the town in which this story is set is secretly run by a family of brothers and sisters from behind the scenes. One of them controls the police. One of them controls the gas and the power. One of them has control over the TVs even. And somehow those words, those 2,000 words have been written every month for the past 13 years. Those words are keeping them trapped in the town. If you have no idea where this story is going from there, neither did I, and that's why you should pick it up and read it to see what's going to happen next. Diana Wynne Jones does have a few themes that she likes to use that show up in a lot of her books. She's such a good writer, though, that even halfway through this book, I was thinking, I guess she's not going to use her usual themes. And then 3/4 of the way through the book, I realized she was using the themes. I knew that she loves to use those themes, but she wrote so well and so originally that I still did not see them coming until only a little bit before the characters did. So, thank you for listening to these book talks today. You can leave a comment if there's a particular kind of book that you'd like to hear us talk about next. Obviously, when I'm doing these book talks, I'm trying to only talk about books that you can get through our websites because we're not able to go into the library right now to get you print copies. And I hope to see you again soon.